The Ship of Doom by M.A. Bennett. Chapter 1, 15th January 1894 at 10 a.m. Luna thought that an afternoon at her aunt's butterfly club would be the most deathly boring thing in the world. She had only been living with her aunt for a month and was already sick of butterflies. Aunt Grace collected them, and they were all over the house, skewered with little pins to little cards. Their bright wings spread, never to fly again. Colorful, pathetic, and very, very dead. Sometimes she would look at their names written underneath in neat calligraphy. Raja Brooke's Birdwing, the Duke of Burgundy, the Great Purple Emperor. They seemed such romantic titles to end in such a sad fate. They should be fluttering around in the meadow, somewhere not imprisoned in this tall, dark house. Luna sometimes thought of herself as one of them. She had everything she wanted, enough to eat and drink, a nice room of her own, and all the pretty gowns she wanted, in bright colors just like the butterflies. She was pinned up in the tall, dark house too. The house, in a very smart part of Kensington, somehow seemed taller and skinnier than any in the row. In fact, it looked as stretched as she did. The smart and skinny house did have a good-sized garden, but Luna was discouraged from playing in it. In case she was seen, it was never explained to her whose gaze she was supposed to be avoiding. She was encouraged to stay indoors and read. But Aunt Grace's books weren't the sort of books with pictures or conversations. They were all books with titles like On the Applications of Non-Euclidean Geometry to the Theory of Quadratic Forms. And who wants to read a book called that? The truth was that Luna Goodheart would have read all the books in the library, however boring they were, if one of them could have told her what had happened to Papa. He disappeared very suddenly, with no explanation. Aunt Grace, looking enough like Papa for Luna to trust her at once, had not exactly explained when she turned up that Thursday at Luna's house to take her niece home to live with her. "Your father's on another plane," she'd said briskly, holding out her gloved hand, and would not say more, no matter how many times Luna asked. Soon, Luna stopped asking, in case she was told what she feared to be the truth. That on another plane was what grown-ups said when somebody was dead. It had always been just Luna and Papa, in the little house in Greenwich Park, in the shadow of the Royal Observatory. Papa had given Luna everything, including her strange name, and now he was gone. Luna would spend many moments each day trying to remember the details of his face, the trick of his speech. So terrified was she of forgetting him even a little. Sometimes Luna would sing her father's favorite song in an attempt to feel closer to him. It was called Yesterday, and he used to sing it all the time. Sang it, hummed it, whistled it. Luna didn't know where her father had heard the song, probably at the music hall, but she had never heard anyone else sing it, so it seemed peculiarly his. Now Papa had disappeared. She certainly longed for yesterday. He'd gone without notice, gone without even a note. In the past, even when he'd had to go to his tailor or his attorney, he'd left little notes for her, always signed in the same way. Yours until the end of time, Papa. So, Luna didn't want to be rude to Aunt Grace when she told that it was time to leave for an afternoon at the Butterfly Club, because Papa's sister was all the family Luna had left. But she definitely didn't want to go. Luna's one day of freedom was every Thursday, regular as clockwork, when her aunt was all out afternoon and evening at her butterfly club. Luna went into the hallway, Aunt Grace was putting on her gloves, and in doing so, covering up one of the most interesting things about her. For Aunt Grace had a tattoo on her left wrist. The mark was so small and discreet that at first Luna had thought it is a birthmark or a bruise. But it was neither. Luna had the opportunity to see the thing properly at dinner when Aunt Grace had passed the soap. It was a beautifully inked tattoo of a butterfly, but not a butterfly like the ones that hung on the walls on the house. It was a clockwork butterfly made of little cog and spindles and wheels like the thing that you'd find in the belly of a timepiece. Aunt Grace turned to adjust her hat in the looking glass, tucking in a stray lock of auburn hair. Auburn was that kind of red that you couldn't really call ginger, but was much darker, the color of port wine. Aunt Grace was beautiful, what with the auburn hair and everything, but she had jade green eyes of the same shade as one of the butterflies on the wall, the one called the green hair streak, and they made her look slightly scary. Because of the eyes, it was much easier to talk to her when she wasn't looking directly at you. So while her aunt was looking in the looking glass, Luna took her chance and said, "Must I come to the butterfly club, Aunt? I'm sure I will be fine with Cook and Mabel." Aunt Grace turned and fixed the green hair streak eyes on Luna. "Luna, good heart, I promised your father I would help you pass the time. And that is a promise I intend to keep. Now, come along." And she held out a gloved hand. The hand reminded Luna of the day she'd collected Luna from the Greenwich Park house, the day that father hadn't come home. Then as now, the leather of her aunt's glove was cold, and the bones inside hard as pistons, almost as if Aunt Grace was part machine. For the first time, Luna had a dark fantasy that the marking on her aunt's left wrist, which she could see at that moment, peeping from the glove, was not a tattoo at all, but a butterfly-shaped tear into the skin to reveal the machinery beneath. The thought was nonsensical, but at the same time, so frightening that Luna bit her tongue and came along at once.